Hello and welcome to another video review. This is Battlefield Vietnam and its World War II mod for PC. This game was released 2 years after Battlefield 1942 was, and to be honest with you, it really doesn't show all that much. They did change aspects of gameplay a little, they did up the graphics supposedly, but I'm playing it on absolute maximum detail, and as you can see, it actually looks worse than Battlefield 1942 does. And you may wonder why that is. It's because there really aren't any shaders or anything. The textures are low res. They're even lesser res than Battlefield 1942's. But all in all, the engine is a little bit more stable, so it is a little bit easier to play with a lot more players on it. Granted, that does mean that the battlefields are even bigger than Battlefield 1942's. Yes, you heard me right. The maps are even bigger. And the problem with that is they're empty. Now, the sound design is actually still very, very good. They actually used movie sounds for a lot of the weapons and stuff, so if you're firing your weapons and you suddenly think, okay, am I playing Platoon? Then you're probably right, because a lot of the sound effects were taken from movies like Platoon, you know, Hamburger Hill, all that kind of stuff. And also the soundtrack is, you know, sounds of the 60s and 70s, really. So a little bit of the music is out of place, but it's usually stuff that you'd associate with Vietnam, you know, stuff like Paint Black, Fortunate Son, you know, that kind of thing. So and of course, it's always really fun to go into battle when you've got a helicopter and just blare, you know, Ride of the Valkyrie over the speakers, because the people on the ground and everywhere else can actually hear that music being blared from your speakers. Because you now have a radio in your vehicles, and you can just play the different music that you have. And of course, you can also put in MP3s into a folder and play those as well. So that's kind of a cool feature. Now, of course, the presentation only goes so far in this game. It's, you know, a Battlefield game. You'd expect the same exact system that was in Battlefield 1942, and it is there. But unfortunately, they changed some of the different aspects of the game enough that it requires a new learning curve. You now have helicopters, and those are really fun if you can finally figure out how to pilot them. But if you don't know how to pilot them, you're crashing all the time. And the same is true with, you know, Battlefield 2, of course. But still, it's, you know, nice to have helicopters and stuff. You know, gunships and all that kind of thing. They've replaced the propeller planes with jets, of course, so the dogfights get a little bit crazier now. The vehicles are pretty much the same as they were in Battlefield 1942. You still got tanks, you still got, you know, jeeps and kind of stuff like that. But the tanks are a lot easier to take down now because your anti-tank weapons are much, much improved. And you'd expect that, but still, they were ridiculously overpowered in Battlefield 1942. But now they're almost underpowered in Vietnam. The only advantage they have is that they have a really, really big cannon. And, of course, you know, that really doesn't matter when it's in the hands of the AI, because the AI is about 3 times as retarded as it was in Battlefield 1942. I am not sure how they accomplished this, but they made them stupider. Yes, stupider. You'd expect the game's AI to improve over the second one, but no, it got worse. They will now stand in the middle of the open and do nothing on the hardest difficulty setting. Really, they never hit you unless you get, like, point blank. It's just really, really annoying. Because, you know, then you're forced to go online, and, of course, now there's, like, nobody playing it online. So, you know, it's just really weird. But, overall, I'd say that the main problem they have with this game is that, you know, it's just not good. You know, a lot of reviewers said, oh, this game is amazing, it's the best Vietnam game to date. No, it's not. It's a pretty terrible game, comparatively. It's Battlefield 1942 with a new coat of paint. Literally, that's all it is. And I think that's the main problem with it. You know, I came into this expecting something different. You know, I thought maybe we'd have iron sights, but no, it's just still got that stupid zoom feature. Only now when you zoom in, you slow down your movement. And the recoil is about 3 times what it was in, you know, Battlefield 1942. So with an M16, which has practically no recoil in real life, about 2 shots and you're in the sky, and it makes no sense at all. Whereas, you know, an AK-47, you fire, you know, 8 shots and you're finally in the sky. It doesn't make any sense at all, and it's just really, really annoying. So, they improved the ballistics at least. The bullets don't drop as fast as they did in Battlefield 1942, but that also means that they go a little bit too far, a little too fast. So it's just really, really awkward having to adjust to this, new ballistic system, the new vehicle system, and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I'd say this game actually is pretty bad. It's just a rehash of Battlefield 1942 with, they got plenty of new content and stuff, but it's really not all that good. And the World War II mod is only 3 maps, and it's just a rehash of Battlefield 1942, only in the Battlefield Vietnam engine. And you'd think that'd be a plus, but it's not. Again, 3 maps. All 3 of them in the Pacific, so, you get no variety whatsoever. The Japanese use frickin' German weapons, and, I get that with, like, the pistols, and maybe, like, the Panzerschreck, but not, like the MP40. Why would they be using an MP40? They'd be using, like, a Type 69 or something like that. And so, it just makes no sense at all. This game is just bad. Really not worth playing, except for, like, just to see what it's like. But, they improved some things, and I like that, but they just crushed everything else. And it's just like, why did you do this? You had a decent game with Battlefield 1942, but then you go and screw it up by, making the engine better, but not making the gameplay better. And it's just, I don't know, it's just bad. Overall, I'd say a very mediocre game. 1.5 out of 5, and thanks for watching.